No. It's picking up that one a little bit. There we go. Had some computer issues this morning. Thing didn't want to sign in and all that, so I'm a little late to the party, I guess. Also starting to sweat. Don't like that so much. Move this thing around a little bit because I want you guys to see something over here. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay. Let's see. Here, there, here, there, here, there. Okay. Time here. What do you see there? I'll let you guys think about this while the rest of the class is coming. I told you there's more people. Yeah, there's more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have any that are repeating, do I? Here, here, here. No. Right. Welcome to class. I'm gonna mute a few of you, because just in case you come through. That kind of thing. And so if you need to, feel free to unmute that. Oh, sorry, I unmuted you. I didn't mean to unmute you. It just popped up there and it popped around beforehand. I love this thing. It needs some type of stability there. I wish it would just put people in their name order or give them an ID number, just put in that order. At any rate, say this out loud. Okay. Read that one.
I am here.
Okay. Next one.
Here is I.
Okay.
Am I?
Yeah. Okay. What do you see there? Did you guys pop in one? Yeah, more people. Excellent. Remove. No. I love how sometimes the button's over here, sometimes it's over here. It's like admit all, it's on the right. Admit them individually, that's on the left. Oops, I clicked the wrong one. They're all gone. What do you see there? Okay, when we were in here last week, what did we talk about? Streams of consciousness. Being awake, that kind of thing. You guys ever watch, they had a new version come out in the last few years, couple of split across two. The movie was Dune, right? Dune 1, whatever, Dune 2, whole series of actually a series of novels. Very, very, very interesting. Very hard to watch sometimes. This new one's pretty simple because a lot of the symbolism and stuff like that, they've sucked out so you can see. Okay, this is what it actually really looked like. Sort of like how they did with like superheroes last year. It's like, here's a superhero, here's all the, no more shark spray. Somebody's gonna get hurt. It's like, that's what's really gonna happen in real life. Right? Same kind of thing here. What do you see here? Tell me what you see. Okay, we'll go big level first. Mid level. We'll go mid level. And I'll show you how it relates to law. It'll also relate to other things too. This is actually a pretty important lesson. Golly, I am feeling puns come over me. A wash. Like I'm in this. It's like my toe in the water. I got washed out to sea. Is what it feels like. Really. Okay. The hell does this thing mean? Each of those are individual sentences. Right? You know that. When he said them, he even delivered them differently. Right? If you really pay attention, it's like your delivery changed there. Why did it change? Any idea? Music, to some degree, whenever we talk, we pay attention to it. That's why some people are a little bit more engaging than others. That's why you learn. That's like 40 years old, guys. And you still know that. That's how spot on that is. Like, that's really cool. Kind of weird. That's a little sociological. That's one. Each of those sentences means something different, right? Yeah. What's this one mean? That one I kind of gave you some more clues to get to kind of show you where I'm at with that one. What does it mean? Only the third adaptation to be better than the old ones. Ah, I like that. Yeah, there's like three versions of that movie. I think they tried to have a fourth one. The earliest one would have been in the 70s. It fell apart. It had one in the 80s. It's got Patrick Stewart in it, the X-Man, Professor X. The third one came out in the year 2000. If I remember, that one's somebody named John Hurt, if I remember correctly. My memory's rusty. Those ones, yeah, they're probably the most adaptive towards like reality. If you look at it, they resemble more Middle Eastern. If you look at the language there, what you're seeing, he's drawing across multiple cultures. That's a really educated person. You start seeing words like jihad and things like that. It's like, yeah, what he's doing there is he's sewing across multiple theologies, multiple religions to create a whole entire world, and that's why people love it. Right? There's always a world right there, right at your fingertips. How awake are you? How perceptive are you to it? More than you realize, right? You read my mind at a whole bunch of different points here. We have to do that a lot to kind of get things across. That's one thing. This also keys into another level. We talked about it in here. I say if we talked about it in here, I talked about it in here. I just don't know if you guys were in here whenever I talked about it. So it's one of those things like I got a lot of hours in this room. I got no idea who I'm talking to sometimes once a time. So if I jump between topics and I move into something that if I've not prefaced, I will just bring it up. This one. Here I am. What does that mean to you?
I'm here. That's it.
Okay. Good. You're present. As in thing. Spin a little bit there. That was cool. Thing. That would be presence. It's a thing. Okay. Anyone else you want to say that? You. This one. What else does it say?
Today kind of seems like you're announcing yourself. Kind of the same as presence, but like
It is an announcement. Proclamation. Got the exclamation point at the end. It's like, I'm really happy to be here. Right? Ooh. Maybe some of that in there. That's why I did a sing song, particularly when you get to questions. Huh? Hmm? Yeah, we do that for animals. Pretty cool. Okay, let's get it for that one. This one.
Does it mean awareness?
Ooh, that's good. That's one of it. Aware. You're picking up on the June thing, maybe? I hope. Hi. Drink a cup of coffee before you come to class. Right? That kind of thing. I'm not a big fan of coffee. I'm a huge fan of caffeine. Right? That's a pretty big one. Here am I. The hell's that? Thoughts there? I see a smile. What are you thinking? No. Okay. Start thinking. An asshole. I'm being an asshole for that a little bit. Sorry about that. Sorry about the bad language. But it is to make a point because you're going to see something as we start moving into law before I get into that kind of stuff. We'll do it here because you do it all the time. I need you to take that system that you have that you're using, that structure, and start applying it across all the things because it's going to apply in multiple things. It's something you use to interact with reality. You don't realize it's there.
do you like location?
Could be. Location. Okay. Starting to get there. What I'm looking for. Any smart asses out there? Say it out loud. This one. Out loud. No, I mean, that's class. Let's hear it.
Nearby.
No, that's not how I wanted it. Yeah, guys. Supposed to be in class. Supposed to be looking to think kind of that way a little bit too. Right? Things are kind of delivered in a way that's kind of physical. I don't know if that's really a word. Weird. Disrupt you a little bit. I'm like, what the hell is that little thing? Yeah, I'm kind of curious. You have to stop and think. That's why he's doing that. Also, academics do that a lot when you look at the sentence structure. It's like, okay, this first sentence is actually just a part of a sentence. It's a preface to the next sentence. It's like, God dang it. If you do that like 7 layers deep, you'll drive most people insane. I do that sometimes, especially if I get ramped up. I'm like, yeah, not really doing that. I'm just here. That kind of a thing. Here's where I'm at. Okay. Next one. Say that one out loud.
Am I here?
Am I here? What is that? Yeah, that's a big fucking question. Now, to be a smartass, it's like, okay, that whole being awake and being present, it's a whole lot of energy if you're really doing it at any one point in time. It's being alive. It's like having electricity run through you. You'll notice that when you see people do it, they key on, they turn on, and they're running at full speed. You'll see people do that in this field all the time. Some of it's programming, some of it's, I got to be right here present in the moment. If I don't, something's going to go wrong. It's also why people do it in sports, maybe like watch that kind of stuff. Probably the best one that I like to point out is baseball, because something's going to get thrown at you really fast, right? People are swinging at that. They have to be able to read that ball before it gets over there. They can actually see the stitches as it's moving through the air. And how many seconds? Not really seconds, right? That thing's moving at 100 miles an hour sometimes. Woo-wee, you're going to have to pay attention real fast and pick that up real quick. And if you're not paying at a high level in that exact moment, boom, you're done. You have no career, you're out. Every career is like that to some degree at some point in time. This is one that will kill you. Whether it's on the legal side and you do something that pisses somebody off, they come for it. It's mine. Someone will at some point. Whether it's in the policing side and you're trying to fix stuff and help people, it's like, oh yeah, some of those people you want to help, they don't want to help, they want to hurt, and someone want to hurt you. Right? If you're on the correction side, it's like, ooh, that's kind of a dangerous one, because to some degree, that the element in society that's really, really bad is really concentrated right in there, and you're going to be locking walls with them. That's also the Rorschach thing. If you guys ever what's the Watchmen? I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Like, that's the danger. That's the difference there. That's why policing works. That's why corrections. That's why all this works. It's got to do with some of it's that presence of mind. Some of it's that control. Some of it's trying to do what's right at every step of the way. It's not an easy thing to do. There's plenty of things that confuse things. And so you have to try to break it out and see what's going on, how things work. So to some degree, detective skills are going to be involved everywhere, every step of the time. You got to do this already. If I said the popular phrase shit testing, how many of you guys have ever done it to people? Right? Most of the time you see that in relationships, that kind of thing. You do see that. Right? I'm going to float this idea, see what they do there. Oh, okay. Did I like that or not? I like that. Okay, I know that person's still in my circle. I didn't like that. Right? Same kind of thing, but now we're doing it with ideas. Now we're doing concepts, all kinds of things. So as you learn about this stuff, I teach good ideas just as bad as I teach the bad ideas, because I need you to be able to tell the difference. And I'm not going to tell you the difference because I don't know. I'm trying to figure that shit out too. Okay. Here, what I want you to see. This, to some degree, is me. It takes a whole bunch of crap to get there, right? How much stuff do we need? How much information do we need to get the meaning of what we're trying to get across? Right? That's that communication thing. That's sort of there a little bit. One is the presence of mind kind of thing. Are you awake? Are you here? Are you actually here? Some of it's in your mind. Some of it's hey, you guys remember that conversation we had about Descartes? Did we have that in here? Is that in here? Might not have been. I got one person saying, are you in a different class than mine or no? Okay, I might have been in here somewhere. Descartes, if you're not familiar with that's philosophy. Philosophy is going to be at the base of all these things. If you look at legal philosophies, that's where you start getting into that. You probably need to go back and start with Blackstone. Blackstone is one of the most important ones that you'll run into, because he's the one that starts the equation of the value of freedom versus the value of punishment. Right? One of those is more valuable than the other, no matter what. And so your default there should kind of be guided by that as we move into it. That's kind of the spiritual side of it. If you want to get the spirit of laws, that's Montesquieu. You should read that too. So there's a number of books I'd recommend to you. I mean, you'll get them at different points in different classes. But if you're ever interested in hearing anyone, write it down. Some people, so I'll probably have a PDF of it or some shit. This. Descartes. Basically what it is this question right here. Existential crisis. I don't know if I exist. I'm questioning everything about reality. Is it real? Ultimately, what he ends up with, I'll get to the Cliff Notes version of it. I can doubt everything. Absolutely everything. Unless I'm honest. If I'm honest. There's one thing I definitely cannot doubt. That's the fact that I have doubts. I can look at that and be, yeah, I know that that exists. That's kind of an internal thing that starts to validate the external. These things move in different directions, different levels, different places, different times. Everything moves all over the place. Literally. That's why some things get really, really complex. Some people are really, really hard to understand because they're trying to take into account more of those levels. And why miscommunication is such an easy thing. It really is. Because it's like, I would mention here, probably wouldn't research methods. Probably my favorite word is racism. Why? I don't know how you talk about it. Like, I know what I think of whenever I think somebody probably wearing a pointing white sheet kind of thing. It's like, yeah, no, that's not what it is when we start dealing with aggregate levels. You start dealing with different things. Can it be that? Yeah, it's not the same thing though. That's something different. Go back over here. What does it mean? A lot of you might be struggling with that. If you're not, you should be. Meaning is the biggest thing that's important. You know, it's like biggest thing. There's a lot of things that are important. That's the biggest one. That's going to drive all things. I think in methods, I talked a little bit about the logic structure between questions. That's basically for as you're trying to follow those type of pursuits. We won't get too heavy over here. What we'll talk about it is probably the closest analog to the qualitative stuff to some degree, because you're getting the same kind of elements. When I start getting the elements, things that you're dealing with. Here, I gave you 3. Really? I don't even need that top one. You just say these 3. Here, I am. I, here, am. I don't know. That's another one I did put there because that one's nonsensical. You see how many different options you have with these 3 words. Not only because of that, every single interpretation here is a little bit more refined, a little bit different, and comes together a little bit differently, right? You pick that up automatically. You sang some of that stuff. Not all of it. That's miscommunication. You can't read minds. You do a hell of a good job of it, though. In this system, you need to be able to understand people across time and understand how they move, how these things work. Gross evidence class, I'd probably give you a little bit of a primer. We never get an evidence class, I'd probably give you a little bit of a primer about this a little bit more, but not going to because I don't have the full list in front of me. Justinian the Great. This guy you need to be aware of there. He's one of the people, because it's going to happen repeatedly throughout history, made a major change in the system, created a code. How he did that. I'm going to look across to see how we're handling everything, right? And as we do that, I can see, hey, some stuff pops up that's kind of consistent here, and some stuff that pops up that isn't, and stuff that pops up that's good and bad. I can look across those things. And one of those things, consistency is kind of good things we wouldn't expect, but that's a separate conversation. Here we end up with is, well, now that we've gone through this is what he did, kind of thing, for long. Here's how we're going to handle stuff. Here's how we've been handling it. There's some people in here who aren't really aware of that, or you might have that thing right here again, the meaning of it change, that spirit of it, where it's like you might have some evil, just evil. Ours is a field. You can't have evil here. You got evil here. It's like what you get is you get death on a scale. It's not. Well, I should say, was unheard of until like the last 200 years. Where you have scales where it's like the number of people associated with this thing is the same as like the concept of war throughout all history. Like that's kind of a big problem. We need to address that kind of thing. This is one of the ways you can do it. Okay. You're announcing yourself, reasonable suspicions for ideas, bud. I don't know how to follow that. I don't know what that's talking about. If good, kind of clarify that. I don't get that. Here, what you're dealing with here. Elements. What you deal with in law. I don't get that. I'm more curious about that kind of thing. It's like mindless understand me. I have fun. That. I don't get that. Please explain. What are your elements of law? Can be words too, right? We're using the same words. Those words have meaning. Know what your words mean. That's all I mean. Some degree, that's really simple. At the same time, you saw how much difficulty you had pulling this shit out. Nope, pop back in. No. Oh, okay, excellent. I saw. I was like, yeah, I'm a little unlevel. I'm like, yeah, not surprising though. Friday, 5 o'clock, maybe different story. Not ready. All right, so elements here. To some degree, I think I talked about that. You got to realize you're dealing with many elements across many different things, right? When we first started talking about classes, what I started doing there is talking about classes. Why? Because when we start talking about classes, those are going to be organized by kind of subject or how we handle things or how to look at things. It's like I mentioned, this is substantive law, that's statutes. There's procedural law, that's kind of basic, so due process and making sure that everybody's treated fairly. That's one of the most important things. And then from there, you start getting into evidence class, that kind of thing. Evidence is, well, that's going to deal, if we didn't do it in here, we'll do a little bit here. Different elements we focus on between those two classes. One of those is like literally like, okay, here's what's in the room whenever you're actually having a trial, right? Here's who's in the room. That's one of those elements, right? Those people you play with. Because to some degree, it's conversation. All conversations to some degree play because it's back and forth. I'm going to throw an idea. Who caught it? That's what you're doing. Okay. See, meaning spirit of your actions. You see that. This is actually one of my most important lessons in the classes because it ties in across so many different levels. You see it over here directly, but you'll see it everywhere. When you start getting into it, it's like, yeah, you've got the elements of like courtroom, the elements of here's how it works, here's how it's. When it comes to statutes, there's only a few things you look for, right? You know what those things are.
Actus Royce?
Say that a little bit louder.
Actus Royce?
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce it. Oh, that's one of those things that you might be. I sometimes say actus reus kind of thing. I don't know how to pronounce any of that stuff. I don't talk to people. I read a lot, and so if you hear mispronunciations, point that out to me. I used to pronounce stare decisis for like 4 years because somebody point that out to me. They thought it was funny, I guess. I don't know. It's like, oh, what that means is I read a lot more than some other people, I guess. That wasn't here. That was a different place. I like people here. That's a different story. I don't want to get into that one. I'll get into that one. So you bring it up later. I don't know if Mike picked that up. I said a bad word. Let's see. I want to talk about. They'll give this. Is it U.S. Actus Reus? I can't remember that. It's like you got that. And Rea. That's the problem. I'll start with me. Said anything about it. Saw some smiles. Mens rea. They got actus rea. So act. Mens rea. Us. I can't remember. I'm horrible Latin right now. Those are Latin terms. I do that for a reason. We'll come back to that in a second. So what is this one? None of you speak Latin. I don't either. I just know some words. We'll talk about that for a second. Latin will come up a lot. The reason why Latin comes up is any biology people in here? No. Remember biology lessons? Scientific names are in Latin. Fine. Dead language doesn't change. That's one. If I started talking to you in this language, what happens is that system starts coming into jeopardy real quick. It's also one of the ways we come up with words like helicopter. You can break it down and say, okay, what that is helio, and then there you go. You start moving from there, right? You start learning the understanding of what words actually mean throughout history to some degree. That's something you can do if you really want to get into it. If you like language skills, you might be a polyglot or something of that nature. You can do this sort of like a computer would, right? I'm just gonna throw my mind out and start tearing the shit apart. To some degree, you can do that with all things, right? I'm gonna teach you a little bit about that with this system. This one. Intent. Your mind. Make up your minds and do something, right? That kind of a thing. So those are two of the big ones. There's a couple more. Yeah. Basically something like this. Some type of harm, some type of thing, that kind of stuff. Right? might be just messing stuff about that. Probably pull up the PowerPoint, see what I put there for that actual term. That's what I'm putting in here in a second. That's one that's kind of hard. We'll talk about that one. Let's say harm. I'm going to put it this way. Make you look at it a little bit different. Right? Harm for this, what's this going to be? Dude, you shattered that guy's cheekbone. Yeah, that's one of those things. You can do that, right? Like that's a harm. That's an output into this thing, right? I did something. I meant something. Something happened. Here's what it was, right? What do you see there? The more I think about that thing over there, it's like the breathalyzer things. Like I should have played with that some more and put in some, slurring, that kind of thing. Like, yeah, that's where you get that one. Like, there I am, yeah, that's not a good one. Ugh. Okay. This. Concurrence. Concurrence is one of those things that's a really, really, really fine point to keep in mind. It's a way that we make a distinguishment here with these things. Okay. The history of things, if I said lex talionis, you know what I mean, yes? How about this one? This is one. This one's not nearly that old, but if you like drama, this one's for you. Nemo me impune lascit. I like that one. That one stuck with me from whenever I was like a teenager, like 12. That's Shakespeare. That's the Amontillado, how do you pronounce that? It's a really good one. Why? What it translates into is no one harmed me with impunity. And if you really get into it, it's like, the degrees there. It's like, no one harms me in the slightest kind of. It's like, okay, this guy's such unyielding in the way that, stuck within the slightest, he's going to kill you. I think he ends up bricking somebody up into a wall and leaving them there. If I remember correctly, I don't know, it's been 30 years since I read that. Yeah, it's like, that's a hell of a story. You might want to remember that kind of thing. Because there's a reason why it got popular. People go through stuff and we actually do go through stuff like that. We do that to people. That's me, that's you, that's anyone. If someone does it in history, you can do it too. That's the same concept. I kind of told you about that in the first day of class. It's like, you look at all these big people, you see how the names in the book, whatever. It's like, hey, they're just people too. You can do it if you want to. You just got to pick it. On that same other side, you can do the other thing. I can brick somebody up into the wall and leave them there to die. If I did it right, I'll do it upside down, right? Yeah. It's like, that's really evil. You can do a whole bunch of stuff like that. Now, these go in. These go in. That one comes out. These. This and this. I had a boss at one point in time. He liked to explain it this way. We get to the end of the class, and we'll give you the Aesop's Fable version of this, because that's my favorite thing to do. That's why it's my favorite class. Because it's the most important. Domestic situation, husband and wife were arguing, wife pulls out a gun, aims it right at her husband. You motherfucker. Blah, blah, blah. Misses him. But at the same time, someone had jumped out 3 stories above. They're going plums in their death. They got another 20 stories to go. But she shot him like 3 times in the center of his chest. Just sprayed him as he's just falling through. Oh, shit. What the hell happened there? That's really, really, really weird. What are you going to do with that? What is that? You got, I don't know. What do you have? You tell me. What do you have?
You have the act that was committed, but the intent it wasn't intended for the kill other.
That's the distinction right there. Yeah, I've got every intent to kill somebody, but it's not for that person, right? Not directed in the right place. That means it doesn't align. That's concurrence. Concurrence is the most important aspect here. It's like these things, that alignment is one of the most important facets of this system. I don't know if I mentioned it in here. I know at some point in time, the politics stuff's on my mind because there's election season, everybody's always wrapped up in that kind of stuff. So you just like kind of acknowledge it, kind of shows like, I really don't care about that. That one right there, that's whenever I talked about, it was Trump and the drug trafficking. Like, we're going to start treating them like murderers if they are. It's like, oofa. That's kind of a scary one. And be careful with that one. If they mean to do that, yeah, because that's a really evil thing to do. Because if you look at it, like the fentanyl stuff, it's like, yeah, I mean, it kills us. That's really bad. It does kill a lot of people. It's really effective. They're really effective at that. What it also does is if you see someone who's having some type of medical emergency, you have to stop and make sure you got Narcan on you. Because if you don't, you might die. One of those is kind of a different threat that people don't really look at. That one really makes me curious. Why would you send a drug that's like that? It's not just to kill people. There's that other thing there too. Another way of looking at it is like this. To what degree are you looking into things? You need to start looking bigger, broader, and in more detail at the same time, right? This is in more detail. Bigger and broader would be that other thing I just mentioned. It's like that social thing, social contagion kind of thing. It's like that's one that will disrupt entire societies, right? Again, I'd be like talking about warfare and generations of warfare, right? Are we at war at any point in time? The answer is like we're always at war, to some degree. War is an important thing. Like, are we in active war? No, some degree, yes, no, no, some places, and that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, that's first generation. You have boots on the ground, fighting going on, kind of thing. There's more than just that. It gets all the way to the point in time we were talking about, oh, we're just spreading disinformation to cause trouble between people. Or maybe we'll do that inside your computer systems. It's the same thing. We're just going to go in there and corrupt the data a little bit. They'll start getting buggy, and then maybe a plane will fall out of the sky. That stuff can happen. This one right here. That concurrence thing is the most important thing in society, in the history of humanity, because now we actually care what you're thinking when you do it. Or if you built a house, you're doing the best intentions, it falls in and hurts somebody anyway, you die. Now it's like, oh, really? What you're doing is you're building shelter for people who've never had it before, and yeah, they didn't know what they were doing. They caused it to collapse on them, and people died. But it's not you, right? That's what we start getting into. The other thing that's more important from that, ordering. We got about 10 minutes left. I'll do the order thing because the order thing looks matters for probably more holistic viewpoint in how this stuff works across the entire system. Because in any one case, you realize every single case moves through the whole system until it gets booted out. So we got to process it. It's like it's going to go through to some degree, whether it's just to get out or it's going to go in, that kind of a thing. And so, how does this thing work? We'll talk about that real quick. I'm going to leave that up. We'll go over here. Okay, so from there, doesn't really matter if you were in court or you're a police officer kind of thing, because they kind of present it the same way to some degree. Court's a little bit more structured. There's more information available, so they have more of a structure to it. So I better start with policing side, because policing side is where you just walk in, what is this? That kind of a thing. Because a lot of times, that's why I'm like, ooh, that's a dead body there. Been here a while. It's not fitting through the door. Been here a while. Right? That's always fun. Literally. That kind of thing. I don't do that. I've never had to do that. I heard enough stories about that. It's like, oh God, yeah, that kind of a thing. Right? We'll say, I don't want to use this term because it's a legal term. We'll use a different one. We'll say, find. You find something. What are you going to find? It's a murder. What are you going to find? A body. You might find a body. Might be a weapon. Yeah, you might find a weapon. All those kinds of things. To some degree, there's going to be this, and there's going to be this. These are the things you're dealing with, right? You're going to see outputs of people's actions. That's it. Maybe it's a dead body. Maybe it's a missing body, because sometimes it's that. Maybe it's the murder weapon covered in, maybe it's just blood. You never know. It can be any number of things. You find an output of some type. As you find that, you have to figure, okay, what exactly happened here? Who was involved? right? That's that logic structure we talked about probably in methods class. It's like the who, what, where, when, how it builds into the what, where, and when, why. You're trying to build to why. And so you get the who, what, where, you get the how, the why. Usually it starts out with, I got an output, I can determine how it happened. Now I got to start spinning out into, okay, where it was, and then maybe I have that one. When it was, okay. Who's involved, that kind of stuff. And so you just circle back around, run it until you understand the whole thing, right? From there, you start bringing in those actions, kind of thing. On large scale across all people, here's what's been happening, right? To some degree, context. There's just a whole lot of things moving, actions, right? Then as you're going through, whether it's the case in terms of your investigating, or it's the case as in you're in front of people and making your arguments, that once you've gotten an idea for who's done what, right? You have to go in and establish this right here, okay? So what were they thinking? Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. Why did they, I don't. What were you thinking? Okay. Well, whatever. It's here. Right. You're investigating it, you start to align these things. That's how you determine charges, that kind of stuff. Right. You have a dead body. Okay. We're gonna send you to death. Now, we'll just leave you in a box. Forever. It's fine. That's better than death to some degrees. In some ways, it's worse. Like, weird thing about humanity and things like that. It's like a little different depending on who you are. Some things are worse than others for different people. So yeah, so you got that. Very interesting. These things together determine what we've done. Okay, so that's the idea of how we kind of do it on this side to some degree. What does it look like in real life, though? You start with. So that question, what did we say it was?
Concurrence?
Close. Are you awake? Are you present? What are your intents here? What are you trying to do? That kind of thing, right? You're going to do something. When you do it, you have some type of attention associated with it at all. Even it's like, I'm going to sit on my couch today and not do a damn thing. It's like, my intent here is to do absolutely nothing, right? I don't have to have an intent there. So my intent there is I have no intentions of doing anything. That no intent is also an intent. It's like, it's really cool. It's sort of like belief systems. That's like, I love talking about belief systems that piss people off real fast. It's like, I was like, what do you believe? I don't believe in anything. Okay, so that's your belief system, nothing. That's not what I said. Like, that's exactly what you said. Maybe. I don't know. Let's talk a little bit more. And as I have that conversation, I usually get really irritated because I don't understand that. But that's just me. Same thing here. It starts right here. It always does. It's inside your head. You figure out what the hell it is you want to do, right? From there, you're going to do some things. You're going to act. And then whatever this thing does, it leads to some type of good or bad thing, maybe. Right? What does that mean to you? It's the most important lesson. What this means to you. Some degree. to some degree, we understand things in terms of its elements. Right? Each thing matters. At the end of the day, this thing itself, that's a philosophical one too. The whole being more than the sum of its parts. How to magnify things. Fucking self-alignment right there. That's what that is. Right? Sorry for the bad language because I don't know how to say that to get that across because that's so important right here. You align this thing with this thing, whatever you do will be magnified to whatever degree. So much so that I can kill someone and walk away with it scot-free. Or I can kill someone and be put to death myself for it. We instantiate that damn lesson of the law, and most people have it staring right there in the face and they don't get it. Sort of like Elon Musk, whenever he's identifying leakers, what did he do? I'm going to give you a sheet of paper. I'm going to see who leaks it. What I did there is I put in one typo that's going to vary by each person in there. All I have to do is look at it and see, oh, that's where the missing typo that you can't see is that I can pull up in the document. If I can do that with what's right in front of your face, what can I do with everything behind it? Right? That's you in life right now. You can do whatever the hell you want. You just start aligning things. You do it to the best of your abilities. You wake up and you do it. Right? That's what we're going to be doing here in class. It'll be fun. Here it's on the logical side. Methods, it's on the number side. Sometimes it's on that kind of side. You do it with all things all of the time. You do it in every aspect of life. Here it is in criminal justice. You'll see it echoed over and over and over again. Make sure you pay attention to this and you do this yourself for yourself. Because ain't nobody going to do it for you sometimes. If they're going to do it for you sometimes, be careful because this thing isn't yours, what's going to be here. And not only that, the thing that ultimately determines who or what any of this thing is right here. Is it real? Depends on what your intentions are. There you go. There's your lesson for the day. The better you align your intents and your actions, the rewards and punishments. They do that same kind of line thing that you're taking that methods class I talked about. Modes of productivity. It's a spike. You can build. Good luck. All right. That's today's class, criminal law. We started in the criminal element. We started to talk about that. Now you actually understand how they work together in reality. Right? It's not just some flighty words in a book. This is something you're doing all the time. You're not seeing it. You need to see it. Start doing it purposefully. Do it now. Okay? I'll see you guys next class. Have a good one.